Bristol Motor Speedway, Bristol, Tennessee, home to the high banked half a mile. Here tonight, Thunder Valley, ladies and gentlemen. Hello and welcome, race fans, to LSR TV, your home for sim racing. Here tonight, behind the cameras, Rudy Cummins, and of course, my co commentators on the night, Greg Rentz here in the booth, Nolan Rempel down there on pit road, and myself, Brandon Kreutz. And guys, it's going to be one good show here tonight. And Greg, I think we're going to see some really fast times around the half mile.
We absolutely are, Brandon. 14.650. Travis Barnes setting the bar in final practice. I'm excited for this one. I managed to get up here into the LSR TV booth just in time as I was on the helicopter coming from Charlotte Motor Speedway from another race earlier today. We got held in the holding pattern, having to wait for final practice to end. I just made it up in time to see Travis Barnes and Dylan Huffines, a couple of drivers representing a new team, the Northwest Racing Boys are 1-2 on the speed charts right now. They've got new paint schemes on their number 3 and number 5 trucks, respectively, representing the new team on the Northwest Racing Series. This is the debut of that new team, and they're off to a good start. 1-2 on the speed charts right now. And Brandon, they were the only drivers to go 14.6 seconds on the night.
Absolutely, they were. And so these guys in their driver's meeting right now. And well, Nolan's down on pit road. And Nolan, tell us a little bit about what we may be able to see for either tire wear or tire strategy here on the night.
Well, it's looking like it might be a lot more of a tire race than we usually see here, Brandon. We heard from some drivers that they have been seeing as much as 1.75% of their tire life wearing down every 2 laps. That's a pretty severe drop off from the night. And of course, a lot of drivers have been saying as well, they're expecting about 110 laps for the fuel runs. Of course, it sounds like a long time. It really isn't that much, though, around this little half mile short track that I guess you could say almost races like a super speedway. But it should be a pretty interesting night, especially regarding those tires with that fall off.
Absolutely correct. And ladies and gentlemen, before we head into racing action tonight, we're going to do a quick national anthem here. So we'll be right back right after your national anthem.
So proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket track, the bomb busting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, traitors that star-spangled banner, yeah, wave for the land another free, and the home of the brave. USA, the name of the brave. We are the USA. For those unaware, that flag is still there. It's our future to save. This land of the brave, the USA. Oh, say, just that star, spangled banner, yeah, wave for the land of the brave, and the
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to LSR TV, your home for sim racing here at the last great Coliseum, the Bristol Motor Speedway. Originally opened in 1961, construction cost around $600,000 for that time. Original name was actually the Bristol International Speedway, then changed to the Bristol International Raceway in 1978, and now under its current name, the Bristol Motor Speedway, in 1995. So these guys almost ready to rock and roll here. And again, I think it's going to be a really good show here, Greg. And these guys ready to turn some bad fast lap times here in qualifying in just a few moments.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what kind of qualifying times these guys put up. Qualifying has been so close together with this series all year long, Brandon. It's been a lot of fun watching these qualifying sessions unfold and just looking at practice, just how tight the field is together. Almost the entire field separated by just 4/10 of a second, minus one truck who is making his debut. Chris Sherburne, shout out to him, making his debut at the series tonight. But other than him, the entire field separated by just 4/10 of a second in practice. And you have to imagine we're going to see more of the same here in qualifying in just a few moments. Brandon, the track temperature here tonight is 84 degrees at time qualifying, getting ready to start with a little tiny bit of wind, if any, coming from the southwest, just under a mile per hour wind. So hardly any wind going on. A cool track temperature, 84 degrees. Brandon, what are you expecting to see in this qualifying session?
Well, these guys going to be high, wide, and handsome around this place, I do believe. But of course, these trucks not putting out a ton of horsepower, only close to 500 or so. So, these spec motors in these Truck Series vehicles still going to put on some really good lap times. It's a really cool track. So these guys going to be gripping it up around here around the high banks. And, Nolan had possibly some interesting scenarios that could take place here if we get a long green flag run. Nolan, you mentioned something about a possibly one stop for fuel.
Yes, indeed. So a little bit of updating from my inside source, and he has just confirmed that it is going to be more than 110 laps running on the fuel, potentially up as much as 125. So there is the potential here, Brandon, for a one-stop strategy. Whether the tires will hold up that long, well, that's going to be another question entirely, of course. So it's, again, something to really look out for. But if we have a green flag run all the way through the end, and this one somehow doesn't have any cautions, one-stop strategies. It's something we don't usually see in a race like this, but hey, you never know. Anything can happen.
Absolutely, it can. Anything can happen here, and especially at the high banks here, the last great Coliseum. And so, again, these guys going through their driver's meeting. We're going to see some race trucks out on track here really soon. But again, guys, potential for a mix-up in strategy. As far as the caution count here tonight, any guesses? These guys are some really, really good drivers. There's a lot of talents, but of course, this is Bristol, and some really, really tight racing. I'm going to guess that we're going to have at least 4 cautions on the night, and I'm going to guess that these guys are going to go down pit road about every single one of these times.
Absolutely. You have to pretty much be on top of your tire game the entire race from moment the green flag drops to the moment the checker flag falls. Tires are going to be so important. I mean, I think that Nolan mentioned that it would be about a percentage and a half of wear per every 2 laps. That's going to add up very, very quickly, especially here at Bristol where the laps are so short, only half a mile for a lap. So you're taking away a percentage and a half per mile here at Bristol. That's going to add up really quickly. And before you realize it, your tires are going to be shot and you're slipping and sliding all over the place. And at this track where grip is so important, especially in the middle stages of a run, if you get to a point where you're slipping and sliding and you're just hanging on, you are in big trouble at this racetrack.
Yeah, absolutely correct. And as you mentioned, Greg, track temperature sitting really low. A nice cool 84 degrees here on track, an 81-degree cloud temperature, and the lights kicking on here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. So we're going to be getting ready for some racing here under the lights here tonight. And of course, these guys going to be ready to rock and roll here in just a few minutes. I believe once the clock hits 10 minutes here in qualifying, these guys will be able to hit the track. And as I stand corrected, track is now open for qualifying. We should see times up on the board here real shortly.
Track is open. They will have 8 minutes of qualifying. They're going to cut the qualifying just a little bit short. They will advance the session at exactly 9 p.m. Pacific time, which is 6 minutes from now. So the first couple of trucks beginning to make their way onto the track. One of them is the 13 of Ryan Maines making his way out. And Brandon, he had such a strong run going last week at Homestead. Didn't end the way he wanted it to, but Ryan Maines is looking to build on some momentum after that good race in Homestead last week.
Yeah, that he is, and there's a couple of guys that really jump out to my attention that we saw have some really good runs throughout the week, whether it be the Cup Series or the Truck Series. And Sean Brightsman came out of the Cup Series. He had a really good run going, tough break towards the end of that race here in the Cup Series here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. John Ottenbacher, another one who had a fairly decent run, came back late in that race. And there's a couple other names up here that stick out to me as well, and a couple of them that I don't see through the field here tonight that normally race with these trucks on a week-to-week basis. So again, going to be a really interesting night, and it's going to maybe open the doors for some of the hard hitters not being here tonight, especially for points.
Well, one thing I just noticed, you were talking about interesting things and different drivers in the field. One thing I noticed, the winner last week at Homestead, Miami, Devin West, is running a new number tonight. We've seen him in the number 15 all year, not just in the Truck Series, but in the Cup Series as well. Tonight, he is driving number 16 on that red and white West Family Racing entry. So he's not out on the track yet to qualify, but just happened to take a glance and realize that Devin West changed numbers on us. His father, Dan West Jr., he's at the top of the charts right now at a 14.834 in the 55, and he's still going down the backstretch right now on his second lap. So first lap to the top of the charts, and Brandon, no real surprise to see Dan West Jr. on top of the charts right now.
Yeah, Greg, I was just going to say, surprise, surprise. See that blue and white, number 55 there up at the top of the board, Dan West Jr. William Fletcher back behind him, 14.848 back there. Now Travis Barnes jumps to the top of the board, 14.755. And that is a quick time around the Bristol Motor Speedway. It's going to be hard to beat that one.
The Northwest Racing Boys looking to go 1-for-1 in quick time awards, and Barnes goes quicker, 14.685 for second lap. He was fastest in practice and is fastest on the charts right now. His teammate Dylan Huffines has not yet gone. 17 drivers have taken time so far, Brandon. And at the bottom of the charts, I'm a little bit surprised to see Dan Lowther all the way at the bottom as well as Stephen O'Hare right above him. Those are two guys who, in the Truck Series, we're used to seeing a lot of speed out of. Stephen O'Hare was the winner in Texas 2 weeks ago. Followed it up with a pole at Homestead, Miami. He's sitting 17th right now on the speed charts.
Yeah, another one that surprises me all the way down there is Mark Walls in the 48 machine. He's normally up close to the top of the charts, and he's back there sitting in 16th, now 17th so far as times continue to roll in.
Dylan Huffines, the teammate to QuickTime Travis Barnes on the track, but he has a big bobble and hits the wall, so his 14.874 is going to be the time that counts for him. He will roll in the 6th spot. Sean Breitzman, bright purple LSR TV entry. He just went to 2nd as he was trying to get up to Travis Barnes, but he was not able to get there. 14.777, so the lucky 777, that's a jackpot at the casino, but unfortunately for him, he's one spot short. Sean Breitzman currently sitting in the 2nd spot.
Yeah, Travis Barnes at the top of the board, 14.685. Sean Breitzman sitting there close in 2nd, but just couldn't quite get it done. And of course, 2 minutes still left on the board for qualifying before officials say it's time to go racing. And yeah, it's a couple of new faces there up at the top of the board, and a couple of familiar faces down at the bottom of the board that we normally see up towards the front. So already an interesting start and an interesting play on things here at the last Great Coliseum. So again, you're watching the Northwest Truck Series here live on LSR TV, ladies and gentlemen. Greg Rentz, Nolan Rempel, Rudy Cummins behind the camera, myself, Brandon Kreutz. We're going to be your crew here for tonight, and we're happy to be here. And these times going to be coming to an end here in about a minute or so.
Brandon, looking through the speed charts, and we talked about Stephen O'Hare, we talked about Devin West. Both the previous 2 winners, O'Hare at Texas, West at Homestead, both are most 2 recent winners outside of the top 10 to start this race. West sitting 15th right now. Stephen O'Hare 22nd. Not the qualifying laps either of them wanted. The one who did get exactly what he wanted is Travis Barnes, because unless someone in these last couple of trucks that have yet to take a time is able to unset him, looks like Travis Barnes has Northwest Racing Boys on the pole.
Absolutely, they do. And before we get ready to go racing here, one thing I want to talk about is the different racing lines here at Bristol. There's really 2 primary lines around this Bristol Motor Speedway. Up on the high banks, it's going to be around the top as your primary. Your one and only passing line that I really expect to see tonight is more of a slide job line. These guys are going to dive it down in deep to the entry of the corner, all the way down low against the apron. And they're going to have to try to clear the truck in front of them before momentum carries him up the track. And here under the lights on a cool track, those are the only 2 lines I expect to really come into play and come to be working to make passes here on the night. And as we hit that 12 a.m. Eastern mark, do expect these guys to get ready to go racing. Once they do, we'll take a look at your starting lineup. Just one moment.
So we have our field set as qualifying should be advanced any moment. Brandon and Nolan, I'm going to ask both of you the same thing. We'll start with you down there, Nolan. Last minute predictions on what you expect to see going on here tonight.
Well, I'm hoping for we could get some green flag runs so we could see a potential like that one-stop strategy playing in. It'd certainly be a first for me as a commentator to see. But, of course, well, it is Bristol, so definitely not the most opportunistic when it comes to looking for these totally green races. But I would predict less than about 5 or 6 cautions if we do all right.
All right, Nolan looking for 5 to 6 cautions throughout the day. Brandon, you're leading the way, but I want to know your thoughts. What are you thinking is going to happen here in this 250-lap main event?
Well, I know we're going to see a lot of close racing, and of course, with 30 trucks out there on the racetrack, it's going to get close with lap traffic as well, and I do expect to see a little bit of bumping and banging, but I know these guys have a lot of talent, and I've got a lot of faith in these drivers out here. So as we get going, it's time to present you with your LSR TV starting lineup Here sitting on pole, it's going to be number 3, Travis Barnes, the 14.685 at the top of the board. Sean Brightsman starting back there in that second position. Dan West Jr. starting third. Fourth of the board is going to be William Fletcher. Brett Johnson starting that 5th position. Starting in that 6th spot, it's going to be Dylan Huffines. It's going to be starting 7th, it's John Ottenbacher. Carl Burke starting 8th. Starting in that 9th spot, it's going to be Roy Grande. And starting in the 10th spot in the board, rounding out your top 10, is going to be Tyler King, Greg.
Corey Walters will roll off in the 11th spot to his outside. Travis McKinney, he's another one of the Northwest Racing boys, just hasn't, I don't believe, put the new NWRB paint scheme on. Actually, looking at it, he may have it, so it looks like 3 of the new team members out there right now. He will roll off in the 12th spot. Steve Jennings made his debut last week at Homestead, Miami, will roll off 13th with Ryan Maines to his outside. The Homestead winner, Devin West, a new number, but the same paint scheme, on the number 16 truck, rolls off in 15th. To his outside, Jeff Stabnow, who had such an incredible rally last week at Homestead, Miami, was laps down at times and came home in the 3rd position. He will roll off in the 16th position. Gary Nichols, Casey Tillman, and James Vining rolling off 19th. Those are currently the only trucks that are gridded right now, I believe, with Mark Walls rounding out the top 20, and the rest of the field begins to grid now.
So it's going to be 30 trucks here taking the green flag, and all of these guys ready to go racing here tonight. Again, you're watching the Northwest Truck Series here live at LSR TV. We do have another broadcast going on right next to us here. It's going to be the Spring Fling here presented by VLR and Schaefer's Racing Oil. You can also watch that one here tonight, and you can watch them side by side if you want to, if you've got 2 browsers open, but whatever you got to do to catch all the action here live. Races will also be available afterwards, archives here. These guys sitting here on the track, and they're going to take 1 pace lap or 2 pace laps around before we get ready to go green flag racing.
Yeah, real quick, want to finish out the rest of the starting lineup. Chris Sherbin, Stephen O'Hare, Dan Lowder, Timothy Ricketts Jr., and Steve Paulson, the drivers that timed in. 25 drivers took time. Drivers that did not qualify: Ray Fournier, Frank Harris, Tom Green, Dan Stussy, and Dana Rogers did not take a qualifying time. But Brandon, we're 1 to green, and the field is about to be in the hands of that 3 truck of Travis Barnes.
Travis Barnes ready to get these guys underway. This time around, that iRacing Ford Mustang official pace car is going to make that hard left turn down into the safety of pit road. 346. It's going to be Barnes and Braitzman here on the front row. Barnes is going to be your control truck. Pace car pulls off. Ladies and gentlemen, buckle your seatbelts here live at LSR TV. It's showtime.
What a start by Travis Barnes, getting out to the advantage. And this is big because you actually want to be on the outside lane here. West Jr. to the inside of Sean Brightsman, and we're seeing it already in this battle for second. Brightsman is able to poke his nose in front, but look at West Jr. make the inside lane first through turn 3 and 4, but Brandon, there we saw Brightsman for a moment how the outside lane pays dividends, but West Jr. saying not so fast. He is out front.
So Dan West Jr. able to go right to the point and kick things off here at Bristol. Down there in second place, Travis Barnes getting, like you said, a massive jump over this field currently and running away with first place out in front. So far, the entire field about single filed out, just about through the entire top 10.
Single file going on right now. Here through the field, Dan West Jr. trying to reel in Travis Barnes, but Barnes is having none of it. And Nolan, you kind of filled in for Brandon here for just a moment. Looking like the top 3 have spaced themselves out quite evenly a little bit, but after that, it all seems to be spaced out relatively close together.
It's absolutely a lot of drivers, tending to single file out real quickly and stick together. Oh, one driver with a bit of a problem. Looks like William Fletcher down from 5th place on the apron. And what has happened to the number 8 truck? One truck slide behind them. Caution comes out. The 24 has just nosed it into the barrier after going for a spin. That was Jeff Stabnow that took a slide. He's going to be down to 27th place now.
That's a tough break for Jeff Stabnow. Looked like he just got loose going into turn number 3 and 4. Have Stabnow. Believe he might have just got loose there, Nolan.
Yeah, so a little bit of a loose moment there for Stat now. Very unfortunate way to start the night off, but lap 6 out of 250 definitely got a lot of time to make things work. I still want to find out what the heck happened to William Fletcher, because he absolutely dropped like a stone from 5th place. Was running really strong, all of a sudden coming off of turn number 2, just pulled it right to the inside of the track, entering 3, and just stayed on the apron until the caution came out.
Wonder if something happened where he broke loose as well. It was about the same area on the track that Stapnow had his issue there, Nolan. So maybe the tires not coming in as quickly as some of these drivers would have wanted, and a couple of them getting loose. As you mentioned, Fletcher was up in the top 5. That little big slide dropped him back to the 13th position here under this caution, Nolan. So a big slide from Fletcher. So not the start to the race he wanted, as he's back there with Casey Tillman. And I want to give a shout out to Casey Tillman, who's right behind him in the 14th position. He raced in the Speed 51 Super Select Series, I believe it was. No, it was the Western States Series, and he finished 2nd on Speed 51 on Tuesday night in their 100 lap main event at New Smyrna. So Casey Tillman, 2nd place in the Western States Series. He's looking to build on some momentum here at Bristol tonight.
Well, a good start for sure to trying to build things off for Tillman, as Fletcher down on pit road, and it's looking like he is going to be getting a fresh change of tires over there. So apart from that, just about the entire field staying out. Of course, not even at lap 10 yet, so it definitely would have been a surprise if we saw a good portion of the field coming down soon. But well, first caution here, very, very early on, to say the least. Less than 10 laps in out of 250. You think this might be a bad omen?
I'm hoping not, but I have a gut feeling, because we know the age-old adage, cautions breed cautions, and unfortunately, when you're at a tight bull ring such as the Bristol Motor Speedway, that seems to be up another level, and hoping that that's not the case here. We'll have to see if these drivers can keep it clean for these first couple laps, but I have to admit, Nolan, I am a little bit worried about that.
Well, we'll have to wait and see what this first restart of the night will bring us. The official iRacing Ford Mustang safety car going to lead them around turn 3 and then down through turn 4. It'll be Travis Barnes once again to lead them off. Got a great jump on the field last time. Will he get a good jump this time, or will Dan West Jr. manage to fight back on the outside? Almost a jump there from West Jr., but that has allowed Barnes to get a huge jump with the lead.
What a jump by Travis Barnes. We've seen that time and time again here. Caution is out, right back away. Yellow coming out immediately after that restart, Nolan.
And that was just about instant. Pretty much it was literally instant. There was absolutely no time. Not even half the field had crossed around. And it looks like, yes, it was Timothy Ricketts to bring this one out. So definite problems there for Ricketts. It looks like he also had troubles coming off of turn number 4. And he actually also lost it. And again, nosing into the water barrels on the edge of the pit wall.
So the area of turn 3 and 4 has been the site of 3 different trucks having their footing taken out from them on these tires. So the tires definitely not heating up the way these drivers would want, and it looks like turn 3 and 4 is the area that it is biting the most. Track temp still sitting at 84 degrees with an 81 degree air temperature. So Nolan, looks like turn 3 and 4 could be calamity corner, as we would call it here so far early on.
I'll certainly hope it does not continue to become calamity corner. We were hoping to get a few green flag runs, and I think we are definitely all still hoping for that. So, well, Travis Barnes is going to get another few free laps in the lead there as a result of that, but calamity corner, that does seem to be the case for turns 3 and 4 right now. Just something about it that's causing these trucks to get all sorts of sideways through there. And like you said, it's most likely drivers not able to get those tires fully up to temperatures yet. That's something they're going to have to work on these restarts. Maybe try to not push it so hard when you're so bunched up together. Work on getting those tires up to temperatures, and then you can worry about racing each other and not the track.
Yeah, 14 laps into this 250 lap main event. Unfortunately, only about 6 or 7 of them have been under the green flag. So the tire temperatures have definitely not gotten to where they need to be able to put on good racing just yet, because the cautions just keep coming out. And unfortunately, it looks like cautions are breeding cautions here in the early stages. Hopefully this time we're able to get a better look at how the field will settle in. And one guy who's hoping for a better restart is at 55 of Dan West Jr., Nolan, because he almost jumped the restart on Travis Barnes, and Barnes timed it perfectly to fake him out. And fortunately for West, the caution came out when it did because Sean Brightsman was right there knocking on the door.
Yes, indeed. So this is something that Dan West Jr. is going to have to sell himself out. And it looks like Travis Barnes has selected the outside lane for the restart. So we, of course, know that the optimal race line is going to be on that outside line once they get up to speed. But before you get up to speed, you can probably make quite a bit of ground there on the inside. So Dan West Jr. is going to have to hope that he can really stuff it down into turn one and make something work.
Outside lane is the preferred lane here once things get going. So can't say I'm surprised to see Travis Barnes take the outside, but we'll see if it pays dividends for Dan West Jr. to be on the inside here in a little bit of a better position. Nope, not to be, as Dylan Huffines, the Northwest Racing Point teammate to Travis Barnes, gets the jump to get into the second spot from the fourth position. The brand new race team, the NWRB, 1-2 right now as Dan West Jr. comes fighting back on the inside. Has Tyler King with a good run for Tyler King so far in the 44. We're yellow once again.
And it's a big one over there in turn number 3. And the car to start this one off was actually Gary Nichols and James Viney. Viney pushing up the track on the right on the back straightaway, clipped Nichols' left recorder, sent that 8 truck hard into the barrier, right up into traffic. And I counted at least 5-6 trucks getting collected in this one. So caution number 3. And, well, unfortunately, we are only on lap number 17. So it is a very, very rough start to this night. And I think at this point that we should be looking in to settle in for the long haul.
Yeah, tough break here so far. 3 cautions in the first 18 laps. Definitely not the way you want the race to go, as the guys who are liking this right now are Travis Barnes and Dylan Huffines as they sit 1-2 now. How about the run for Tyler King so far? Getting up there into the 4th position after starting in the 10th spot. He's already plus 6 positions from his starting spot in 10th as he has moved up into the 4th spot now. Good run for the 44 of Tyler King so far.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So Tyler King up 6 spots. And, of course, Dylan Huffines now into 2nd place. He started down in 6th. So Huffines up to that run-up position. And like I said, brand new team running 1-2. So this is great for them. Dan West Jr. really not having the luck he needs on these restarts. And it looked like he just didn't time that restart right at all for that second restart. Because he really just never, ever left. Potentially missed a shift, you think?
It may have been either that or he thought Travis Barnes was going to wait a little bit longer than he did and just wasn't ready. And Dylan Huffines, and we saw this happen in my race earlier today. Nolan, the car, or in this case truck, that was starting behind the leader was able to get the spot on the restart because they were able to just take off when the truck in front of them took off, whereas the truck that was alongside of them was having to wait to see if he went or not. That was allowing the truck that was directly behind the leader to get the spot away from it and receive more of the same here tonight here at Bristol. So much of the same here. Looks like the preferred spot for the restart, if you're not leading the race, is looking so far to be directly behind the leader.
Absolutely. That seems to be just the way things have gone right now. So, well, Travis Barnes, he's led 20 out of 250 so far. No doubt helped out by a good portion of those cautions. We'll have to wait and see just what will happen here on this third restart. And it's, well, it's looking about time that I'll have to sprint back down to that pit wall before this next inevitable caution comes out. It is looking like our good old friend Brandon Cruz is able to join us once again.
Green, green, green.
Green flag back in the air. Brandon getting settled back in.
Yes, check.
Yep, we got you, Brandon.
All right, so these guys gonna be racing around. Man, I've been having tech issues all night here, and my computer not giving me a break here, even when it comes to be broadcast time. But happy to be back as these guys are having some really good side-by-side racing down towards the back of this thing so far.
Yeah, good side-by-side racing going on a little bit further back in the pack, as Sean Brightsman has finally been able to settle in, I believe, into the 6th spot as he got shuffled. He restarted in the position and struggled to get back in the line. Gets back in 6th. He only lost 1 spot, but he was stuck on the inside there as they get around the lap truck of the 8th of Gary Nichols. Was caught up in one of those early incidents. And Brandon, I don't know how much of the race you've been able to see, but we're already on, I believe, our longest green flag run of the race.
Yeah, I've been seeing that so far, and it looks like the trends to Bristol have been hanging true so far here tonight, but it looks like these guys started to get spread out here slowly but surely, and well, it looks like, as I say that, caution flag is back in the air.
And that's the second time tonight Timothy Ricketts has been involved in an incident.
Yeah, looks like we'll go back on replay, and well, he was cruising along nice and smooth here, and he pulled to the inside of the racetrack and came to a stop. And that'll do it there, and that was all she called for, I guess. He's going to take it behind the wall from there and back her up and take her home. So Ricketts pulling to the inside of the racetrack and coming to a stop here to bring out another caution here on the night.
This is our fourth caution of the night, Brandon, and Timothy Rick is the first driver to retire from the race as he has left the server. So Timothy Ricketts, the first driver to officially retire from the race. It looks like Tom Green did not start the race out of that, or he has been on pit road for quite some time, as I'm not seeing him. Yes, he is on pit road right now, 8 laps down, has been for a while, is still out there though, so he is not retired from the race, as it looks like some trucks near the back of the pack are making their way on the pit road, Brandon. So looks like one truck out of the race with another one on pit road. All 30 trucks took the green flag, but looks like only one behind the wall and out of the race thus far.
Yeah, so one truck packing it up. He's got his hauler loaded up, and he's going to head on out of here once he gets the opportunity. So tough break for Timothy Ricketts there. Looking here at the leaderboard, I see Dan West Jr. He's normally our hard runner here in the league. Looking good with a fresh new scheme here on this truck, or a newer scheme. I believe he may have had that on there last week as well. A couple of new faces here at the top of the board. I see Tyler King up there. Obviously, Travis Barnes, he's our pull sitter. And Dylan Huffines going to be up there in that second position, up in that 5 machine. Corey Walters back there in 5th. Sean Breitzman falling back to that 6th position. I see Brett Johnson up within the top 10. And Ryan Maines back there in that 8th position. So still under caution here. It's the last great Coliseum. So these guys getting ready to get stacked up, doubled up, and back green flag racing action here momentarily.
So yeah.
So all of these guys, again, ready to come back to the green flag here. It's going to be Travis Barnes still at the top of this thing. He's going to have the 5 machine to his outside. 44 Tyler King behind him. Dan West Jr. outside second row. Pace car is off. And they're getting ready to go into the firing zone. They're on the throttle. Green flag is back in the air.
That is the best restart that the driver not in control has had all day by Dylan Huffines. And he's teammates with Travis Barnes, so I wonder if they were in cahoots to say when they were going to go. But have to wonder that with the teammates there working together. But Barnes was able to get it going right there. Oh, Breitzman with a big slide going into turn 1 after some contact with Ryan Maines, and that's going to collect the field behind him.
Look out, big time trouble back there. They're battered, smothered, and covered down off of corner number 2. Big pile up as we go back on replay, and it looks like Breitzman got tapped from behind by Ryan Maines in the 13. He went for a big slide up to the outside, safe for a barrier. Mark Wall's a hard hit to the outside wall, and that collects the rest of the field behind him.
Man, oh man, that's tough for Sean Brightsman, who had such a strong run at Homestead and had it denied last week, and much of the same here tonight. And he is still sitting there on turn number 2, just off of turn number 2 on the backstretch there. So, not the night that Sean Brightsman won, and his night appears like it may be either done as he gets going. A lot of damage on the 46, a lot of trucks with damage as well. We'll see if they use that one fast repair that they're allowed to use, Brandon.
Yeah, so they got one backup truck on the ready, and I'm sure a lot of those guys are going to be cranking those things out of the pit area, or out of the garage area and down on the pit road here. So back under the caution flag once again, I believe for the 6th time of the night. And again, only 35 laps into this 250 lap event.
Yeah. And hopefully these guys can settle things down and get some green flag racing in, because this is definitely not the way we've wanted this race to go. 5 cautions and 35 laps complete. We are averaging a caution every 7 laps. It hasn't been that way, as we had a couple of cautions on restarts. But Brandon, the age-old adage that me and Nolan talked about while you were gone, cautions breed cautions, is showing itself right now. This is proving to be very, very true right now.
Yeah, absolutely. In the trends of Bristol Motor Speedway. And Nolan, I'm going to wake you up down there on pit road with all these cautions. What do you think the pit strategy is going to look like?
Well, it's already been up in the air a couple of times. We're seeing some drivers come down, take 4, and already go on out, even if they didn't have damage. One of those drivers that has done that was actually James Vining. And well, I'm keeping my eyes on one truck in particular right now, the 78. I think he might have actually been slapped with a penalty for an unsafe pit exit. See that blue line on the inside of 3 and 4? Well, he crossed over that line trying to get to the exit. This is not the double pit lane layout. This is a single pit lane. You got to wait till you're all the way around, and he's fading way back. So it looks like one of those drivers, well, might have gotten a little too antsy trying to get out of the pit road while he's caught himself an EOL.
Yeah, you got to stay below that blue line all the way around to the inside of the racetrack when you're on pit road. And when you're exiting, you got to wait till the blue cone there down on the inside of the racetrack before you merge back up, even under the caution period. So that can result in a pretty hefty penalty. And again, with 29 race trucks still on, or 28 race trucks still here on the racetrack, that's going to be quite hurtful for anybody that has to start at the back of the line. But again, these guys got to stack up, and we're going to get ready to go green flag racing next time around.
We'll see if the teammates Barnes and Huffines have a similar restart this time that will be there, or they have a similar restart to the last one, or if things don't go as planned for them this time, by as Barnes leading the way. He's going to take the green flag. You have to imagine he'll go as soon as the pace car is off. No, he's going to bring him to the field slowly and then take off. So Barnes waiting a little bit there to allow Dan West Jr. to try to get a shot at Dylan Huffines. Does not get it though, as Huffines is able to clear. Battle for third breaking out between West, King, and Corey Walters up to the top 5 down there.
Dan West Jr. going to clear for that third position down there. Tyler King up behind the 44. He's going to look for another position, and he already gained that position away from the 9 car. That's Corey Walters back there, now looking for one more as he closes in on Dan West Jr. in front of him, the 55.
West Jr. pulling away now from Tyler King as Walters goes to work on King, and Brett Johnson back up. And as I say that, we have our 6th caution of the night.
Looking around to see what the cause was. It's going to be Dana Rogers down here on the front straightaway. I see James Vining went up and over on the front straightaway. We go back on replay and check things out, and it looked like these guys got stacked up and collected in front of him. And James Vining with a huge hit back there from that 85 machine, and that sends him up and over, barrel rolling down the front straightaway. And again, these guys going to stack up and collect each other behind them. Another big mess here off of turn 4.
So far, one driver has disconnected from the server out of this. Mark Walls looks like his night is going to come to an end early in the 48. And Brandon, that's big because Mark Walls is one of those guys who is always in contention for the win. His night looks like it's going to come to an end just 40 odd laps into this race. That is a heartbreaker for the 48 of or Mark Walls. I was looking at the race leader, Travis Barnes, when I started to say that. Dan Stussy also has retired from the race as a result of this accident. So one very heavy hitter out of the field right now. Mark Wall's done for the day.
Yeah, that's going to be huge, especially in the point standings for that 48 team. Um, I guess one bad race won't hurt him too much because all of these guys are going to have them at some point throughout the season. But, again, you look at Mark Walls. He's up front every week against guys such as Dan West Jr., these guys that are up front in the top three or in victory lane every week. It's going to be a huge hit. He started back further in the field, put himself into a position where he really didn't want to be, and now getting caught up in multiple wrecks here tonight. That's going to end his night, and he's going to pack up the hauler and head out of here. So back up front again, your leader's going to be Travis Barnes even still, and Dylan Huffine's going to be back there in the 5 machine. Dan West Jr. up there in that 3rd position. It'll be interesting seeing him restart once again down on the bottom. Tyler King in that 4th spot. Corey Walter still makes up your top 5 here so far, and I believe this is your 7th caution flag here of the night. 45 laps into this 250 lap event, and things are just getting warmed up here at the world's fastest half mile.
So we'll see what unfolds here on this next restart as the teammates up there, Barnes and Huffines, have been a little bit closer on the restarts than anyone else has been as far as competing with Travis Barnes on the initial restart goes. And then it's Dan West Jr., of course, is always up there in the mix of everything. Brandon, this is turning into a race of attrition right now, and just who can stay clean the longest here in this race. And with a 250 lap race like this and so many caution laps already, you have to imagine we are getting close to due for a long green flag run if we can get through these first couple of laps.
Yeah, absolutely. You'd think so, anyways. A race of attrition. These guys just gotta settle down. They gotta get into a groove. You can't win this in the first corner. So these guys, they really just have to kind of get their cars under them, the race trucks underneath them. They got to get into a good groove, get this run going, and hopefully log some green flag laps here. So again, Travis Barnes going to be your control truck on this restart. Pace car going to be making its way down into the safety of pit road once again, this time off of corner number 4. The field enters the start zone. Green flag is back in the air as they're on the throttle.
Another good restart for Travis Barnes in the 3. And you have to imagine the more cautions we get, the more practice he's going to get. He's going to get another one as a car went around mid-pack. Frank Harris lost it up in turn number 1 going into that one, our 7th caution of the afternoon.
We go back on replay and see what happens here, and Frank Harris was coming out of pit road, and he wants to go merge up onto the racetrack or onto the second portion of the apron there, and he just lost it all by himself down there. So that'll bring out our 8th caution here of the night off of that restart. So tough break and something you got to watch here on Cold Tires, guys. And Nolan, Cold Tires here. It's going to be treacherous, as we just saw.
Yes, absolutely. So, Harris having a bit of an embarrassing moment there, just exiting the pits. Now, here's the thing, though. The way these trucks are, well, let's put it this way. If you haven't had an incident that is identical to that, you're lying. We've all had that happen to us at some point or another. Even a lot of the pro guys have had that at one point or another. It's one of those things where we all have one of those incidents one time or another. And, it's looking like quite a few drivers here. They might start to be looking towards pit stops, and I can see Travis Barnes currently on the apron in 3 and 4, so might be seeing a couple drivers maybe thinking about a pit stop here for the first one of the night.
Maybe, just maybe. I think some of these guys playing games down there up right against that blue commitment line down and to the entrance of pit road, so no pit stops yet. I just don't think we've run enough green flag laps, and I don't think it'll make these guys worthwhile, because right now, from what I see, track position is just so important. You don't want to put yourself into a position down towards the back of the pack, because you potentially get caught up in a wreck, and that's a night ender, as we've seen for multiple drivers packing up their stuff and heading out from getting involved in multiple wrecks, just being in positions that aren't necessarily ideal.
And Brandon, we were talking about the pit stops and haven't seen any takers just yet. And I'm wondering the amount of yellow laps that are being run. The tires are nowhere near as worn out as we were anticipating them to be at this stage of the race. Fuel consumption is nowhere near what we expected it to be at this stage of the race. Do you think this is opening the door for that one-stop strategy? Because a lot of fuel being saved right now, a lot of tire wear being saved, this is opening the door perhaps for that one-stop strategy to really become something that's feasible in this race as this wears on.
Yeah, I think that is totally a possibility, especially if this trend continues throughout the race. These guys can come down for fresh feel goods and fuel halfway through this race and be all set for the end of this thing, provided that we don't get still a longer green flag run.
So we'll see what happens as we've had, I believe this is our third restart caution that we've had so far today, and setting up for double file again. And another thing I'm beginning to wonder is how long until we start seeing them go single file restarts, because it is in control of the admin to make that change. And I have to say, I'm expecting that change to happen sooner than later if we get another quick caution here.
Absolutely, Greg. And once again, the field's in the hands of Travis Barnes. His pace car this time around going to be dropping down into pit road once again, waiting for Barnes to fire in that 3 machine. Green flag is in the air. We're underway once again.
Huffline staying with him this time. Barnes able to clear going into turn number 1, and once again the yellow is out.
So once again, we go to a yellow flag right off of the restart. This time going to be for Dana Rogers. Getting turned around that 07 machine, and go back and see what happens. And let's see, down off of turn 4. I have no explanation for that. He came down for the restart. The 28 just made a hard left turn down into pit road, and yeah, as my old colleagues would say back from my PTR TV days, that was a thing. That was interesting. So we go caution once again here. William Fletcher trying to get down into pit road there off the restart, not realizing that the 07 was underneath them, and yeah, it brings out, I believe, our 9th caution of the night.
Well, Brandon, today's race is brought to you by the color yellow here, as this is our 9th caution of the day, and we are only 55 laps into the race, and Travis Barnes has led all 55 of those laps. But guys, Brandon, Nolan, this has got to be frustrating if you're up in the top 5. You're a guy like Dan West Jr. or Dylan Huffines or even Corey Walters. You're stuck in the top 5. You're so close to the lead, you can almost taste it, but you just can't get a long enough green flag run to get there.
Yeah, this is starting to get to the point where I'm sure it's very frustrating for some of these guys up front. They have a sniff at, up into the top 5 or possibly even the lead up there, and they can't do anything with it. And, these guys aren't here to pace around for 250 laps. So, again, I'm sure getting very frustrating for these drivers down on the racetrack.
Especially if you're up in the area of Dan West Jr., Corey Walters. I'm not so sure about Dylan Huffines, though, because he's got his teammate right in front of him. They're sitting 1-2. Looks like we've had one more driver drop out of the race, William Fletcher, who had problems in the early going after having such a good start to the race. He qualified well in the top 5. He has just retired from the race, so 4 trucks now out of the race. Tom Green has rejoined the race and is trying to gain positions right now.
So all of these guys, again, staying out here on the racetrack, Be interesting. Hopefully we can log a couple of green flag laps here. And again, most of these drivers in here are very, very talented guys, and I know the capability of many of these guys, and normally we're able to go really, really like record-breaking green flag runs. I've seen these guys go all from flag to flag, green to checker here, but you know, sometimes these drivers just have it off nights, and I think Bristol can be a primary cause of these drivers having it off nights. It's always a trend here at the last Great Coliseum. Cautions breed cautions over and over again. So we're going to try it one more time here, and race control telling these guys to get their stuff together and see if we can log some green flag laps. Pace car back in. Travis Barnes on the throttle. We're underway once again.
Barnes out to the lead now in the 3. A big lead for him as the battle breaking out for the second spot. Dan West Jr. almost had Dylan Huffines there as they settle down and as they roll through 3 and 4. Oh my gosh, Brandon, we have completed a lap at speed.
That we have, and it's going to be side by side back there for that 5th position, or that 6th position rather. Ryan Main's able to defend that position down off the bottom of the racetrack, and it's going to be Brett Johnson falling back behind him. Stephen O'Hare in the 41 trying to gain ground on them. So down off of corner number 2 this time around. All of these guys up front. Travis Barnes is pulled away by a couple of tenths now over his teammate Dylan Huffines. Dan West Jr. starting to make grounds on them, and they've got 3 cars under a blanket for that 3rd position now.
West Jr., Tyler King, and Corey Walters battling for the 3rd position as Huffines beginning to try to pull away. Hasn't had much luck with it yet. Meanwhile, back there, Ryan Maines has gotten past Brett Johnson, settling in now. Stephen O'Hare, the 41, we mentioned he didn't have as good of a qualifying run as he would have liked, but with all these cautions and everything, he's been able to slowly work his way through the field, gaining spots when drivers drop out and have incidents. He's up into the top 10 now. Stephen O'Hare in the 41.
Do I dare to say it? We've got a little bit of green flag action here so far. And these guys all looks like spread out here for the most part. I see James Vining coming down pit road. He's had a tough night so far, and I believe he may be coming in here to possibly call it a night. Travis Barnes already about to hit lap traffic out front.
Barnes coming up on lap traffic. I believe this will be 15 of Chris Sherburne will be the car that he just, or truck that he just put a lap down, and he does. And he has got some distance now as another truck pulling out on pit road, or off of pit road now, as Huffines makes his way through. And Huffines kind of the head of the snake right now as they're working their way. And now we're starting to see some of what Bristol's known for. They call it the world's fastest conveyor belt. Now that we've been able to settle down and get some green flag laps in, we're starting to see that a little bit here, Brandon.
Yeah, that we are, and that's exactly how fast it happens around this place. The leader catches lap traffic in no time, and like you said, the world's fastest conveyor belt that's all it is, and that's all you see here from an aerial view is one continuous line of race trucks in this case, heading around here. So again, Travis Barnes still on front, Dan West Jr. back there in that 3rd position. Obviously Dylan Huffines back there in 2nd, 44 Tyler King. Still back there in 4th, 5th, he still holds the 9 of Corey Walters. Ryan Maines trying to gain ground, so is Brett Johnson and Stephen O'Hare. They're all in the latter half of the top 10, and all of these guys not able to get away from each other quite yet. They're all able to hang in pretty tightly compacted here throughout the latter half of the top 10.
Yeah, good racing going on through the field right now as they're settling down and able to put away some laps. The 3-car breakaway now is in the 2nd spot between Dylan Huffines and Dan West Jr., and they're beginning to put a little bit of gap between themselves and Tyler King. Corey Walters has lost touch with that battle as he has fallen into the clutches behind them. Ryan Maines beginning to put pressure on Corey Walters now. That's for the final 5th spot. And Brandon, it is a whole host of trucks behind them. No one really making any moves yet, though, as they're all kind of riding right now, and they're more or less focused on just trying to get some laps down instead of going for racing right now, because we still have 175 laps to go in this race. We're only 75 laps into this one once Travis Barnes gets back to the line this time. So drivers now really just focusing on getting some laps in and trying to figure out what their truck's going to do as this race wears on.
Looking up here, up ahead, been around that 6th position. Ryan Maines trying to gain a position up from the number 9 Corey Walters. Out behind him, no opportunity to fill the gap. He's still trying to get the run on the 9 up top, but he's got company back there, and he does not want to let that get that
the way there. And Maines had to check up for just a fraction of a second, and that caused him to lose the momentum that he had on Corey Walters there. He was able to get back up in front of Brett Johnson. Now they got to deal with lap traffic again, the 15 of Sherburne. And Sherburne almost up at the wall. Now he's going to get down to the bottom as the gaggle of trucks continues.
He's back in the middle group, cutting, timing the corner off on corner exits, and he's going to make that position work. He's going to get around the 9 of Corey Walters, and now they're going to be 3, almost 4 wide back behind him.
And Brett Johnson, the big loser there, as he got shuffled back there. O'Hare and I believe C. Tillman and maybe Carl Burke getting up there as well. Yeah, Carl Burke, the red and white 53 new look for him this week. Tillman on the inside now of Brett Johnson, and behind them, Travis McKinney beginning to creep into the picture. Stephen Jennings kind of the tail on the field, if you will, right now, as this battle that's going on for the 6th position right now is going on. And Brandon, what have you noticed with that 13 of Ryan Maines? Because as soon as he was able to clear Corey Walters, he took off away from this battle like they were standing still. He's not really gaining ground on the four in front of him, but once he was clear of Corey Walters, he was able to just drive away from him.
Yeah, you know, I think he was just stuck. I think, and not, you know, to go down on the 9, and but I think he's just a little bit slower than the rest of these guys up here throughout the top 10. So these guys trying to find a way around him. He may have a very good short run truck, but as the run progresses on, I think that 9 machine, he's either saving tires or he just doesn't have a great long run vehicle as the run progresses on here. And again, this concrete is so harsh on tires, and it's so abrasive. You know, these guys really have to do the best they can to save their stuff.
Well, Nolan mentioned in the pre-race that it was going to be about 1.5% for every 2 laps, and now that we finally have a long green flag run, now we're probably starting to see that percentage be clicking away. But we made it so long before we got a green flag run. I still think we're in the ballpark of a nice one-stop strategy, but up front we have got a battle for the lead brewing. Dan West Jr. got around Dylan Huffines, and now with the leader in traffic, and they hit the wall right in front of him. Travis Barnes trying to get around lap traffic, has the 55 of Dan West Jr. right on his tail, and the battle for the lead making their way through lap traffic. Dan Lowther, and I could not tell who the other one was, I believe it was Steve Collison, hit the wall right in front of the leaders.
Really nowhere for either one of those trucks to go, and now they hit lap traffic once again. It's the 85 car in front of them. Dan West is going to be forced to give up that position. He's going to be forced to go high. Can't quite run the line that he wants, and the lap truck did an awesome job getting out of the leader's way. He ran that very low groove, and that's exactly where the leaders want these guys if they're going to get past. And Dan West Jr., he's going to regather, he's going to try to regroup himself, and he's going to try to go at it again. It's going to be side by side for the lead down in the quarter number 1.
West Jr. inside, Barnes outside, and for the first time all day, we have a race leader not named Travis Barnes. Dan West Jr. out front leading at Bristol. He has to make it back to the line to make it official. He will this time. Lap truck right in front of him, Chris Sherburne. Dan West Jr. leads here at Bristol.
Yeah, and again, surprise, surprise, blue and white 55 out in front of this race, and he's just got to keep it consistent. He's got to keep through lap traffic, but I don't count Travis Barnes out yet. We know that 3 Machine's got a fast piece underneath them, and I guarantee he's going to be up there at the end of this race.
But Brandon, about a lap ago right there, he hit the wall trying to reel back up Dan West Jr., and hopefully it doesn't affect him a whole lot, but I'm a little bit concerned on that number 3 truck right now, because he did scrape the wall right about here 2 laps ago. Travis Barnes scraped the wall And it really is showing as Dan West Jr. has already opened up a 2.5 lead, and Barnes now struggling as he gets passed by the lap truck of Dan Lowder. So the 3 truck, the handle on that truck might be going away after that scuff with the wall.
Yeah, you know, it's so hard to tell what all these guys are doing, whether it's them saving tires or whether it's, you know, them using up their stuff too quickly here in the run. And time will only tell if this run goes all the way through to potential green flag stops. I don't think it's really the damage much that's hurting that 3 machine, as these trucks can, one, take quite a beating, and two, you know, aerodynamics not exactly the worst thing that these guys got to worry about here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. And you know, I see a couple of guys here out within the top 10 that still have fast pieces under them, but are suffering from a little bit of damage. Now Ryan Maines looks like he's going to be fighting for that second position, and he's going to be side by side down into corner number 1 once again. Barnes doesn't look like he's going to fight too hard. He's going to give up that spot to the 13 machine.
Ryan Maines is proving that he has one of the fastest trucks in town on the long run here. He was gone from 6th to 2nd in a matter of about 10 laps, Brandon. So that's 13 truck on a rail right now, but he's 3.4 seconds back to Dan West Jr. But West Jr. is still trying to fight his way through traffic. Ryan Maines has to get through the same amount of traffic as he did, but he's still a little bit further back, whereas West is just now clearing. So a chance maybe for Maines to catch up a little bit before he catches up to these guys in front of him, Paulson and Lowder.
That was almost 3.5 seconds up there to the lead from Ryan Maines to Dan West Jr. Now closing in that 13. It was 3 seconds even that time across the stripe. So Dan West, as he's fighting through lap traffic, and these guys are going to fight the leader a little bit harder than they are. Going to be second place, and caution flag out on the speedway once again.
Looks like Steve Paulson went around.
So looking at the replay, and Stephen Paulson going to be, looks like a hard hit down into the outside wall, down into corner number 1, off the nose of the 26. He gets hit, and up into the outside catch fence went that 58. A big single car wreck down there in corner number 1. That's going to bring out the caution flag once again here on the night.
Tough break for Stephen Paulson, going up for a ride off the front of, I believe, Ray Fournier. So, Brandon, that was far and away the longest green flag run. And Nolan, right when that caution came out, you said we had a truck on pit road beginning green flag pit stops there.
Yes, indeed. Mr. Jeff Stadnow had brought it down to the lane, and it seems like some of the other drivers are taking it down as well. I see Dan West Jr. coming down to the lane, and it looks like Ryan Maines going to be coming down as well. So just about your entire lead lap field now onto the lane here on pit road. So first bout of proper pit stops taking place tonight. I would not be surprised if we saw a lot of drivers taking 4 tires and fuel. It's, of course, gonna be a great call to make. You don't want to be really having 2 tires on these trucks. It will not help you at all. So I think 4 tires, and well, fast repair, I know at least Stadnow used his fast repair. Your race leader, Mr. Dan West Jr. was the one to lead them down to pit road. He does have trucks stopped ahead of them, so whether he'll be the one to lead them off, well, we are going to have to wait and see. Currently right sides, it's most likely going to be left sides going on to that number 55 as well. No, it's right sides only for Dan West Jr. He's off and away.
Strategy call for Dan West Jr., Brandon.
Yeah, strategy call, and one that takes me by surprise for the 55 team is just taking right side tires. And that may be a bold move, but I think he's thinking what I'm thinking, guys. The cautions breed cautions here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Maybe he's thinking he won't need to use all that much rubber here on the upcoming run.
So if I might just interject here, Brandon, it seems like I might have just delivered some false information. Apparently, I need to get some glasses, because that 55 truck, well, he did take all 4 tires.
I guess I need to get a new prescription with you, because I was looking at him. I saw the right sides go up, and obviously I was wrong there and thinking that the left side didn't go up as well. So Dan West Jr., but I will say he came off of pit road way far ahead of the rest of these guys. So Great pit stop by that team.
Yeah, great pit stop there by Dan West Jr. There, Brandon. Sorry, my voice kind of got away from me there for a second. Dan West Jr. with a great pit stop to get out front. Still, Ryan Maines in the 13 in second. And I want to talk again. What a run that 13 truck has had so far. Ryan Maines was pinned back in sixth position. And once he got around Corey Walters to get into the top five, it was like that 13 truck found another gear because he was flying through the field. Granted, we have another truck that is retired from the race. Travis McKinney, the number 88, has just called it a day in the number 88 truck. So he will end his night early.
That he will, and well, guys, once again, the field's going to be coming to the green flag, this time in the hands of Dan West Jr. They're on the throttle. Green flag is back in the air, and a great jump on that restart for the 55.
Great job by West Jr. to get the lead early. Dylan Huffines in the 5, right back into the second position as he got around Ryan Maines. And we saw it once again there. The truck that was positioned directly behind the leader had an advantage on the restart as Huffines was able to gain the spot. Travis Barnes, he's got his work cut out for him now in that 3 truck as he is back in the 11th spot right now, trying to make his way through some lap traffic there. So Travis Barnes, not what he wanted to have happen on pit road.
Yeah, no, not at all. And, well, I think Barnes may be playing the tire-saving strategy here. We know that you can potentially save tires down on the bottom of this racetrack and running that bottom groove. And that's exactly, I believe, what that 3 machine is doing. He's not running all the way against the wall. And, of course, now that I focus on him, he goes back to running that outside line. And commentators curse. It always gets you. But, of course, as you said, Travis Barnes back there in the 11th position. He's got to keep his head on his shoulders. Doesn't want to get involved in any incidents.
He's got a very hungry Dylan Huffines behind him in the number 5. Huffines won a bump-to-pass race at Oxford last night in an older Chevy Silverado, driving the newer Chevy Silverado in second right now, trying to get up there to Dan West Jr. and say, hey, I can win these for real. He's looking for his first Northwest Racing Series win. And he is running in the second position and closing in on Dan West Jr.
That he is, and Dan West, he may have some company up there behind him very shortly as the 5 machine was starting to inch closer in that rear view, but these guys, the run goes on, and again, it's all a tire game here as this run has a good feel to it to possibly go as long as the last one. So, trends here at Bristol, cautions breed cautions. So far, we may be starting to break it, knock on wood.
I'm hoping this is our second decent-sized run in a row here so far at Bristol Motor Speedway. And Brendan, look who's up in the 3rd spot. Stephen O'Hare started 22nd. The Texas winner has just jumped onto the podium. He is in 3rd right now, bringing Steve Jennings with him and Casey Tillman rounding up the top 5. So some new faces up here at the front here in Bristol as Dan West Jr. leading the way. Stephen O'Hare, of course, winner at Texas, but Huffines, Jennings, and Tillman, we're not used to seeing them up this high in the standings right now.
Yeah, you know, Greg, I was just looking at that as Jennings is going to go underneath that 41 machine. He's going to try to make the pass for that 3rd spot. He's not going to quite able to get there. He's going to fall back up to the high side of the racetrack, tuck right in behind that 41 machine. And again, he's going to have to regroup himself, and he can try it again here once the tires cool down just a little bit. So that 111 machine trying to make headway here up throughout the top 5.
Another truck pulls into the pits. Dana Rogers has retired from the race. He is done for the day in the 07, but he was already way deep in the field, 67 laps down. So Dana Rogers, a rough night. He's just going to go ahead and cut his losses and call it a night. He will finish, I believe, in the 26th position once this is all said and done. But right now, Dan West Jr. is beginning to pull away from Dylan Huffines as Jennings still working on the back of O'Hare right now as West has already caught the tail end of lap traffic once again.
And that's a big, big thing here at Bristol is the lap traffic. And so we know it can get really heavy at times as Dan West Jr. coming around. It's going to be halfway this next time he crosses the stripe. So already going to be at the halfway point of this race. As Dan West Jr., he had company at first behind him. Now that company's over a second back.
And Dylan Huffines is up about as close to the wall as you can physically get without touching the wall right now. Maybe he was watching that NBC Sports Short Track Challenge that was going on earlier this week, Brandon, as we saw some of the Cup drivers. We saw Matt DiBenedetto, Danny Hamlin. They were running the extreme high side in their respective races, and it worked for them. So maybe Dylan Huffines was watching that a little closely and trying a new strategy.
Yeah, and the biggest thing here again is that constant thought in the back of your head. You gotta save those tires. If we end up going a super long green flag run here, and these guys, possibly after the last caution, it's gonna be really, really close, but possibly gonna be able to make it here on fuel. If we are somehow able to go to the end of this race without another caution, these guys just got to be aware of that, and they got to be able to save their stuff because, they go through these high banks at 120, 130 miles an hour. It's not easy to save those tires, and you're going to have nothing left here at the end of this run.
Absolutely not. And they're running a torrid pace right now is Dan West Jr., so you have to wonder if he's thinking there's going to be another caution soon because he is not showing any signs of tire saving whatsoever. The guys who are showing the most tire saving to me are the guys in around 5th or 6th. You've got Brett Johnson. He's kind of just riding right now, watching this battle break out behind him, or in front of him, I should say, between Jennings and O'Hare, with Tillman right there as well. Brett Johnson, he might be playing the tire conservation games. He's not really gaining ground on them. He's kind of just hanging back, watching and waiting to see what happens. So Brett Johnson, I think, is really the first guy who's truly saving tires right now.
Yeah, one thing that always worries me is that right front, and we talk about the tire wear. We've seen these guys blow that right front tire out in the past here. We've even seen guys blow out that left or that right rear. So, it's always a constant thought in the back of these guys' heads, but as long as they keep their head on their shoulders and run a consistent race line around this place, I think we're going to be okay. So, again, 135 laps into this thing, and it's amazing how fast these laps tick by here. They're still only running 15 or so laps, or 15 or so seconds per lap here around this Bristol Motor Speedway, Thunder Valley.
Lap times just clicking away as Huffines, I think, caught the wall there. 3 and 4, and a caution is out. And we got a wreck right in front of the leader, Dan West Jr. Tom Green and believe the 15 was the other truck involved in that, Chris Sherburne.
We've seen it time after time again as we go back on replay and look at it, and they just slight contact, and it was so close down the front straightaway, and those two drivers just the smallest of touch, and it'll send them both barreling up into the outside wall. So a tough break for both the 77 and that 15 machine, and maybe a night ender for either one of those guys.
Nolan, down in the pits, you had a good angle of a possibly developing story involved in that accident.
Well, 4th place, Steve Jennings might be having some troubles because I do believe he might have very, very lightly grazed one of those trucks that was stopped on the racing surface. I'm taking a look back myself. And in fact, he did. He actually has got some significant right front damage because he grazed the 15 truck who was sitting in the middle of the track, Sherburne, and that sent him up into Stephen O'Hare, which in turn put O'Hare into the outside wall. So 3rd and 4th having some dramas of their own, trying to get around that wreck after it taking place. So it again looking like we're going to be taking place for another round of yellow flag pit stops. But Dan West Jr., your race leader, staying out. So an interesting call from West Jr. to keep it out there. And 3rd or 4th place, it looks like they're not going to be staying up there for very long.
No, not at all. And Nolan, it looks like you're going to be having some company down there real soon, as you've got quite a bit of your leaders coming at you.
Well, I can already see third and fourth pulling into their pit boxes as it is. Again, Huffines led them down to the lane, and well, last time we saw this, the one to lead them down was also the one to lead them off, so just about every driver from the lead lap is down to the lane. Huffines, it'll be right sides on, and most likely left sides as well, and let's see if this time my brain will betray me. And in fact, it won't. It was Huffines with all 4 tires, and he will be the one to lead them off of the lane. It's looking like it'll be Steve Jennings who will come back in 4th place, but maybe just might not have gotten him. It looks like Travis Barnes. It was a photo finish exiting the lane for sure, but it looks like Barnes might have just barely lost out on that one.
So interesting scenario coming off of pit road here, and up front, I do believe it's going to be Dan West Jr. still holding the lead. Tyler King back there behind him at the 44. Devin West up there in that 16 machine. It's going to be back there in 3rd. Dylan Huffines in 4th, and rounding out your top 5, making his way back into the top 5 is going to be the 3 machine of Travis Barnes.
Travis Barnes slowly makes way back up. He got held up on pit road there. I wonder if he was getting some damage fixed from when he scuffed the wall right before that previous caution came out. Remember, he was hanging in there with Dan West Jr., but he hit the wall pretty significantly in turn 2, and his truck just wasn't the same. But, oh, Brandon, we're going green flag. Dan West Jr. out to a big lead. Looks like Tyler King and Devin West stayed out as well. As we're rolling right now, the West's back up to 1st and 3rd right now, but they're on much older tires.
That they are, so Dan West Jr. sails it down out of quarter number 4 this time around. Tyler King going to follow suit. Devin West now making his way up towards the front of this field. He's going to have company underneath him. Dylan Huffines going to try to find a way around, as well as Travis Barnes back there in the 3 machine. Caution flag once again.
Caution is out once again here at Bristol.
Oh, big implications for the 13, Ryan Maines. All by himself. Down into corner number 1, he sent it in there, and it almost looked like something broke on that race machine. I couldn't tell what exactly happened there, but he went straight down into corner number 1, and the truck just snapped right around on him, and a very odd-looking spin for that 13.
That's a tough break for Ryan Maines because he was having such a strong run and just got pinned a couple of laps down after some unfortunate stuff happened. Ryan Maines was up as high as 2nd, and it's showing that he had so much long run speed right now in this race that he had a shot to maybe make something happen later on in the race. But man, what a tough break for him there, Brandon.
Yeah, absolutely. So all of these guys going to stack back up once again. And we're going to try this again to go green here in just a few moments. So again, your leader still out front. It's going to be Dan West Jr., Tyler King behind him, and Devin West. It's going to be the top 3. So West Family Racing, Greg, we know him to be up front quite often. Familiar faces back up at the front of this thing once again.
Yeah, but I'm worried about that 15 of Devin West, the winner last week at Homestead, Miami. A lot of damage on the back of that truck as he got up there by staying out on the racetrack, whereas the rest of the field, aside from his father, Dan, and Tyler King, came down pit road. That's how West got back up there. Devin West, at least in the 16 truck. I'm worried about the longevity of that vehicle with all the damage on the rear end there.
Yeah, but you know, cosmetic damage, normally not a huge factor here on the short track. So, though it may affect him maybe just a little bit, it doesn't look too severe. Maybe a little bit of a parachute there down on that rear spoiler, but I don't think it'll affect him too much. We saw Ryan Maines up there for quite a while with a very damaged front end of the race truck, so I do believe Devin West in that 16 machine should be all right. So I do believe we may be around the
I
12th or
think we're.
13th
I
caution
was gonna say we
event.
have to be double digits by now.
And these guys have been doing a good job the last few runs here, getting some green flag laps logged in. So already well beyond the halfway point of this race as we quickly logged those laps off. And we're going to try it again here. Should be getting the one to go this next time across the stripe.
Gonna try it once again, Brandon. Dan West Jr. leading the charge on older tires as opposed to the field from 4th on back. Dylan Huffline's the first truck on fresh tires. His teammate Travis Barnes back in the 5th as we're green. Another great restart from Dan West Jr.
Dan West Jr. powers down the back straightaway, and another great restart from him down up there, rocking that high side, high, wide, and handsome down off of corner number 444. Tyler King going to follow suit behind him. It's going to be side by side for that 3rd position. Devin West has got company behind him.
Dylan Huffline's getting the spot, bringing Travis Barnes with him. A couple of Northwest Tour boys going after the field right now. The Northwest Racing Boys, the brand new team founded just earlier this week, trying to get up and make some noise here early in this one. Huffline's in the black and orange 5, Barnes in the blue and black number 3. And the battle for the race lead beginning to break out. Brandon, as Tyler King putting some pressure on.
Side by side up front for that race lead. Dan West Jr. rocking that high side, 44 down low. That's going to be Tyler King, not quite able to get there. Now he's got company behind him for that 2nd position. Here comes the 5 of Huffines behind him, as well as Travis Barnes in the 3. These guys going to stack up bumper to bumper, all within the top 4.
The early leader, Travis Barnes, back up into the 4th position. Another challenge from Tyler King, and he had a really good dive into turn number 1 there, Brandon, but West so strong on exit. But here we see it again. Tyler King much better through 3 and 4 this time. He may be setting up for a shot right here. This is where he's been strong. Not quite that time, as now Dylan Huffline's able to get a run on the outside.
Dan West up to the outside wall. That opens the door once again. He's going to throw it down there into quarter number 3 that last time around, and now he's going to find the gap. He's going to settle up behind that 55. He wasn't quite able to get there before. I think he really just has to try to cool off his tires. There's still a long ways to go in this race, and he's going to try to duck down below him once again. And he's going to try to rock that middle groove. Now we know that a couple of these guys have been able to make it work here earlier in this race. The 44 trying to follow suit. Almost up into the rear bumper. The 44 was at 5 machine now.
Tyler King putting the pressure on, however, not letting the fact that Dylan Huffines is closing in get to him as he's making the charge at Dan West Jr. Oh, West got the wall going into turn 3, and that's going to open the door for Tyler King to get a good run.
And still not quite able to get there. He's able to get all the way up to his door, maybe his front bumper cover, and that's as far as he's gotten so far. Now he's got to be able to close that gap up high. He's got company up on the high side once again. Here comes Huffines, followed by teammate Travis Barnes behind him. And Devin West and others follow suit as there's a whole gaggle of cars up within, looks like the top 5, all the way back to the top 10. Contact up to the outside wall goes the 5. Hard contact up to the outside, safe for barrier. That's going to stack everybody up, and they're going to be 3, almost 4 wide back behind him. And now the blown motor received Jennings, I believe that was.
Jennings loses a motor, and he got caught up in that. I don't know how we didn't have a caution there, as I thought Dylan Huffines was going to be on his lid. All 4 tires were off the ground, and he is still sitting in the 6th position right now. Not only do I not know how we got a caution, I don't know how that 5 car is able to continue right now.
Well, we stayed not necessarily clean, but we stayed green, as Dan West Jr. still has company up there for the lead. Travis Barnes literally almost locked on his rear bumper all the way around this racetrack. He's going to try to stick his nose underneath him. He's going to try to look low this time. He's going to hang on tight, riding right in the tire tracks of that 55 machine.
West Jr. putting the pressure on right now. Barnes putting a lot of pressure on the back of West Junior as West is putting the pressure on, trying to hold on there. And don't look now, his son Devin has got that 15 truck going. Remember, the 55 and the 16 are on much older tires than Travis Barnes is right now. So this is showing that maybe tire wear might not be as bad as we thought it was going to be, Brandon, because Travis Barnes on much fresher tires having a hard time getting away from the Wests right now.
Well, one thing that concerns me is Travis Barnes going to clear barely that time off of corner number 2. As now that he's out front, I think Dan West is really showing that wear and tear on his race truck, tires being a primary cause of that whole deal. And I think Travis Barnes is going to be able to pull away by quite a bit quite quickly here as he's now out in clean air and out front of that 55 machine. It was just finding a way around that 55. That was the troubleshoot. Is now the 16, his son back there. Those guys are both teammates, obviously, as now they've got company below them. That's the 24, Casey Tillman. Now following below the 16, now looking for second place on Dan West.
Good run going for Casey Tillman, looking to follow up that Western States Super Series second place with a good run here in the Northwest Truck Series. Second in the Super Lates earlier this week. He's up to second again as he gets around the 55 of West. Move Casey Tillman up in the second, bringing Devin West with him in the third spot. Dylan Huffines, and I don't know how Dylan Huffines is able to continue after that. He's going to get past West Jr., who hits the wall again in turn 3. So problems for the 55 truck, Brandon, I think are safe to say right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of wear and tear showing on that 55 machine now as he's got quite a bit of cosmetic damage on that racetrack, and I'm sure his tires are a little bit worse for wear now also as we get further and further into this green flag run. So Huffines all the way back up to that 4th position after earlier incident. Devin West up to that 3rd position. Casey Tillman trying to hunt down the lead, but Travis Barnes currently has a 1.5 second lead over the rest of the field.
Barnes is on a tear right now, but he got pretty close to the wall in 1 and 2 that last time, and we are rolling now. We're coming up on the final 5th, I think, guess you could say, of this race. 75 laps to go here, Brandon, as 175 of 250 laps down in this one, as Travis Barnes beginning to catch up to the tail end of some lap traffic.
That he is, and again, we mentioned the world's fastest conveyor belt here, the Bristol Motors Speedway. These guys get wrapped around all in a big circle, and that's what it looks like here from the aerial view. So Travis Barnes, again, catching lap traffic. He's significantly faster here than a lot of these guys at the tail end. A lot of these guys at the tail of this field suffering from some major damage on these race vehicles from earlier incidents, but he makes his way through traffic, as we know it can get heavy at times, but all of these guys have to find a way through. Casey Tillman still hanging on to that 2nd position. Devin West still back there in 3rd. We check back in on Dan West Jr. as he's losing more and more positions down here through the top 10, all the way back to that 7th position from the lead just a few laps ago.
So big problems for Dan West Jr. as Brandon, we are seeing the field work their way through, so we're going to let you guys at home experience how it is watching these trucks work their way around the High Bank Bristol Motor Speedway. Brandon, let's crank it up for the folks at home on LSR TV.
So caution flag back out into the speedway once again, ladies and gentlemen, as the 58's hard into the outside wall down the front straightaway, as we've seen time and time again down into corner number 1. It's just the slightest and smallest of contacts sending these guys around up to the outside wall, and that was a big contact. The drive away both of those drivers, and heavy damage for both of those race trucks. So we head back under caution once again. These guys all coming down for pit stops, and I believe Greg for some for fresh fuel goods and another splash of fuel.
This should be, unless we get another late race caution, should be the final stop of the race, Brandon. I would have to imagine that these guys are probably not going to want to risk track position anymore from here on. So I would have to imagine this is the last stop of the race for some of these guys. This is the money stop right now.
Absolutely it is, and all of these guys are trying to get some good pit stops going near track position. Oh, so crucial here at Thunder Valley, as we've seen so far tonight. Travis Barnes going to roll off, the first one off pit road, I do believe. See Brett Johnson possibly staying out onto the racetrack. So we'll see where all of these guys cycle around once they cross the start-finish this next time by. Travis Barnes holds the lead. I believe Brett Johnson back there in second in that 7 machine. Dylan Huffines should be in that 3rd spot. I don't want to speak too soon. Yeah, all right, so I had it right the first time as my timing all updates here, and of course timing system all updates as these guys go across the line here, folks, so I do apologize. But so as these guys stack up under yellow, Brett Johnson and Roy Granze up at the front of this thing, Travis Barnes up there in 3rd, so I believe the top 2 either staying out or took 2 tires. I believe Brett Johnson did stay out onto the racetrack. I believe Roy Grande did as well, so leaves 2 cars up in the front row with older tires, but of course, admitted the last time by, which, Greg, it's not terribly awful on tires, but it's also, we've seen how far these tires can go per run as far as the tire wear goes, so it does leave me to question a little bit, but I believe back from where they were, they'll end up in a better position for where they were as far as track position goes. Probably backing on the caution scenario again as we're about to go green flag racing on turn 4.
And with as late in the race as we are, I'm expecting the intensity to really start ramping up. So here we go. We're going to start it off right there.
Green flag, green flag.
So the field's forms in the corner number 1 and now down in corner number 2. And Travis Barnes getting around your second place now already trying to break her way around to the lead over time.
The yellow flag is out.
I will hold that thought. A big mess of cars further back in the fields. And if you look back at the replay, I saw 16 to go around first. That was Devin West. All by himself, 5 getting collected up in that. Dan West going around in front of everybody else. He overcorrects up towards the top of the racetrack, and I see Ryan Maines involved, Stephen O'Hare involved. That's the 58 back there involved. So chaos down there and off the restarts once again at Thunder Valley.
So another heartbreak for the West family as they had such strong runs going, but it might not be over just yet as they're both still on the lead lap, but they got a lot of work cut out for Dan West Jr. on pit road now in that 55 truck to get some damage repaired. Devin West has been able to get most of the damage that he suffered repaired, so might not be a done deal just yet, but if Dan West doesn't get off pit road very quickly, it'll probably be the end of his night at least.
So to run down through your top 5 after that short little stint that we just had, Travis Barnes up the top of the board once again. He's going to be your leader up there in that 3 machine. Brett Johnson, and now coming down into pit road, he was your former second placeman. He's going to pass that off to Casey Tillman. Dylan Huffines going to come around to that 3rd position. 4th is going to end up being Carl Berg, and Tevin West manages to hang on to that 5th position. Now, he didn't come to a complete stop in that whole caution cycle, so he will get his position back in the last scored time line, which again, he was able to drive off, he kicked it sideways, he was able to recover, so he'll come out into that 5th position as they cross the stripe.
Brett Johnson on pit road from the 3rd spot on the score sheet right now, so he will pit, as that will move Devin West up another spot. But Brandon, we're getting down to crunch time here as we're closing in on 50 to go. Travis Barnes, who was the strongest truck for the first half of the race, has settled back into the lead now. He's got Casey Tillman, who is outside, and Dylan Huffines in 3rd before we find Carl Burke. And what a comeback for Carl Burke, as he was kind of back in the field a little bit. He has worked his way up to the top 5 now.
That he is. Carl Burke, he started back there, well, just within the top 10. He started in that 8th position all the way up to that 4th spot in that 53 machine now. And these guys, once again, going to stack up, double up, and get ready for some more green flag racing action today.
Lights on the pace car are out, I do believe, which means we are going to go back to green flag racing. We will have 193 laps complete, which brings us to 56 to go when the green flag falls, Brandon. And here we go once again. Field of
Green flag, green flag.
Watch the box, as we take off the top of the way.
Travis Barnes shoots like a bullet out of a gun down the back straightaway. He pulls off with advantage. Now, 24 Casey Tillman to the back behind Tillman. Look at that Tillman back there. We'll see Tillman Huffines in that 5 machine. And here comes the 53 of Carl Burke back behind him. All these
Caution, yellow flag.
Caution flag out of the speedway once again. It's going to be that 333 James Vining and a whole mess of other cars back there on the back straightaway once again. I see the 55 machine going around as well as the 7. And I believe the 55 Dan West Jr. went there at the bottom of the racetrack and all by himself going around. He almost had a save. He kicked the 7 up into the outside wall and more contact and all of these guys. A whole mess of trucks down the back straightaway once again. Man.
Tough break indeed for these guys involved. Brandon, that moves us to another caution. I think this is around the 15th caution flag of the afternoon. And we're starting to see the green cautions come back once again. We had a nice long green flag run in the middle portion of the race, but now that we're getting close to the finish of this one, we're starting to see the green cautions come back.
Absolutely it is, and well, we go under caution once again. We're going to step away and rest our voices real quick. We'll be right back on the One to Go. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to LSR TV, your home for sim racing. As these guys once again stacked up, doubled up, ready to go back green flag racing. Travis Barnes still going to be your control card. Casey Tillman to his outside of that 24 machine. So all of these guys ready to try to finish this out. It's going to be 50 to go when they cross the line here off of this restart. And I think at this point, Greg, it's going to be go time. The pace car makes its way down into the safety of pit road once again. They're on the throttle. Green flag is back in the air.
I would absolutely agree with you that it is go time, and Travis Barnes knows it as well. What a shot through 1 and 2. Did you see how much ground he gained on Casey Tillman there in 1 and 2?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, just like a rocket out front is that 3 machine of Travis Barnes. Casey Tillman trying to follow suit behind him. Hasn't lost much ground since that exit of corner number 2, and he's just trying to hang with him so far as Dylan Huffine's going to hang on behind him. Carl Burke hanging on back there into that 3rd position of that 53 machine. The 9, Corey Walters, starting to lose ground. He's got Devin West right above him. Devin West starting to make up positions once again.
Devin West coming back through the field. Looks like that staying out strategy might have worked out for him better than what we thought, as he's able to hang in there despite the accidents that he got caught up in. His father, Dan, trying to make his way back through the field. Dan up to the 8th spot right now as he is rim right in the wall right now, getting as close to the wall as he humanly can, trying to get up there right now. Meanwhile, son Devin riding in the 5th spot, trying to get around Carl Burke right now as he's pulling away from Corey Walters. Burke going after Dylan Huffines right now.
And that he is, as trying to get up to his rear bumper, and he's got company behind him as well. Devin West trying to get up to the back bumper of that 53 machine. As all of these guys, again, fighting for position out onto the racetrack. They're all fighting for real estate at this point of the race. It's so hard to pass here at the high banks of Bristol.
Single file working right now through the front of the field, as Barnes and Tillman have broken away from Huffines. Remember, Huffines hit the wall pretty hard earlier, about 70 laps ago, and it knocked the 5 truck back to about 6th position. Has fought his way back up into the 3rd spot right now, doing a good job hanging on right now. But Barnes up in front, looking for his first Northwest Racing Series win. Lap traffic up ahead with the 333, I believe that is, of James Vining, as he's just going to move out of the way. Another truck has retired from the day. Stephen O'Hare, who was having an up and down night, has retired from the race as well. Caution is out. I believe James Vining, who had just got put another lap down, was around off turn 2.
Yeah, and that he did. He came down to his stop on the apron, and that's going to bring out yet another caution flag here tonight. So a caution without incident once again. A driver coming down to a complete stop on the apron of the racetrack triggers that caution flag from the iRacing side of things, and we go to a crawling pace speed again here on the 9th.
Yeah, James Vining just coming to a stop and retiring from the race, so that puts us under a caution once again. Lap 212 on the board now, Brandon. Closing stages of this one. Looks like Corey Walters is going to come on the pit road for some service, and he's going to bring a few trucks behind him.
That he will, but all of your leaders stay out ahead of him, and just like that, we're ticking off laps quick here, Greg, is already at about 38 to go.
So the leaders stayed out, but 6th on back looks like are coming down pit road. At the time of the caution, 11 trucks on the lead lap, so we'll see how this unfolds for the remainder of this race as we're inside the final 50, as Corey Walters led the charge on pit road. Top 5 stayed out: Travis Barnes, Casey Tillman, Dylan Huffines, Carl Burke, and Devin West.
So these guys again under the pace speed, and they've been pretty good about these green flag runs here in the second half of this race, Greg. So we were able to tick off a lot of these laps pretty quick, and we saw some really good racing along the way, as these guys are known for in this series. Is when I think of the Northwest Series, I think long green flag runs and really good side-by-side racing, and that's exactly what we were starting to see here in the latter half of this race. The beginning half of this race is just classic Bristol. Sometimes you start with a field of 30 trucks, you got to wear them down to 15 or 20 before you can get a good run going.
Yeah, and as this race is worn on, a lot of drivers, maybe some fatigue beginning to set in as well as the laps tick away. This is such a long race. 250 laps at this track just seems to drag on forever. But at the same time, it goes quick, Brandon, because you sit here, you're like, oh, dang, 250 laps, this is going to take forever. And you're just sitting there, and before you know it, you're in the closing stages and it's shootout time.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, these guys going to get stacked up, doubled up, ready to go green flag racing once again. And again, your top five: Travis Barnes, Casey Tillman, Dylan Huffines, Devin West, and Roy Grande. It's going to round out your top five. Travis Barnes, once again, going to be the control truck off of this restart. The iRacing Ford Mustang official pace car is going to duck down into the safety of pit road, this time by 35 laps to go at the top of the restart. Pace car is off. Travis Barnes, he's on the throttle. Green flag is back in the air.
Great start by Travis Barnes in the 3. Once again, so many times today we've seen the race leader have a good restart. And up front, Devin West trying to break up the NWRB party up there as he's trying to get around Dylan Huffines right now. He will move Devin West up into the 3rd spot right now, Brandon. He's trying to go after Casey Tillman. He won the race at Homestead last week in dominating fashion. He tasted victory. He wants another shot at it here tonight.
Yeah, Devin West, after earlier incident, already back into that 3rd position. We know he's got a fast piece under him. As we go, caution flag once again. That's going to be Carl Burke. He's been one of your top runners. He goes around down the front stretch. And I believe he may have had a little bit of help there off of the corner exit from that 11 machine. It looked like a total racing deal. These guys just fighting for the same real estate. The 11 came up to arc off the corner. The 53 maybe trying to diamond that corner just a little bit, and they make contact on corner exit, and that sends that 53 around. Just light contact of that inside safer barrier. That'll bring out the caution flag once again.
Under caution once again, and typical short track Saturday night racing here on Thursday here on LSR TV, Brandon. And would you expect anything less from Bristol than the wild night that it has produced?
No, absolutely not. And you know what they say, it's Bristol, baby. And that phrase is kind of stuck with this place. Is it's been known for its wild racing action and frustrating moments and tempers flaring and Thursday nights and, well, Friday morning short track racing here on the East Coast. These Northwest guys, I think, still fighting here with late night. So all of these guys just waiting to cruise around here. Travis Barnes, I'm sure, would be A-okay if the race finished here in this order. But Travis Barnes, Casey Tillman, Devin West, Dylan Huffines, and Brett Johnson are going to be your new top five. Travis Barnes still up there in control of the field for this restart, and 24 still going to be his outside. That's Casey Tillman. So again, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Northwest Truck Series here live on LSR TV. And again, I believe our other producer is done for the night. We had another broadcast right beside us. That was the 13th annual Schaefer's Racing Oil Spring Fling. Catch all the racing action here after this broadcast. You can go back and watch the archived racing action. As feel free to like and subscribe and all of our content, as it really does help us a lot and helps us out for all of the cool things that we like to do for you guys, and a lot of the cool content that we plan for this channel in the future. Of course, giving a shout out to our race sponsors, or our channel sponsors here, Sawblade.com. They're a huge sponsor here for LSR TV, Clan Wars Servers, Fame Design and Media, East Coast Motorsports Media, and of course Race on Texas and 52 Media. So again, all of the guys that help us to succeed here on LSR TV. If you are interested in having a broadcast with us or possibly becoming a partner, feel free to head over to livesimracing.com and head over to the contact us page where you can submit a form here if you want to request a broadcast or request any sort of marketing partnership with us here on the channel. We appreciate anything that we can get. So, field stacked up, doubled up, and ready to go. Green flag racing once again. Greg, take them away.
Travis Barnes, Casey Tillman, Northwest Racing Boys 1-2 right now. Tillman hasn't put the NWRB scheme on his truck yet, but he is a member of that brand new team that has proven off to be a very hot commodity at the start. They're sitting first, second, and fourth right now with West Family Racing breaking it up with Devin West, the winner in Homestead last week. Green flag in the air. And just like that, the outside lane working once again. Dylan Huffines able to clear Devin West into turn number 1. Move Huffines back in. And the brand new NWRB 1-2-3.
I think Casey Tillman's going to have a little bit of company behind him very shortly. The 5 machine, we know he wants to get up front. He's been running up front pretty much all night. 24 machine's going to pull away, and these guys going to spread out here fairly quickly within the top 5.
Top 4 broken away already. Brett Johnson trying to break away, but feeling the heat from a guy we haven't talked about a whole lot so far tonight. Roy Grande in the 51, up in the 6th spot right now, kind of having a very quiet night. Jeff Stabnow caught him in the first caution of the night, has had to slowly work his way back to the field up in the 7th spot with Dan West Jr. there in 8th. So some guys that we haven't talked about a whole lot tonight slowly beginning to creep up there, Brandon.
Yeah, I want to talk about Jeff Stabnow real quick, because where did he come from? And I think I've said that about him multiple times, is lookout 24. Big save there off of corner number 2.
Maybe
my
we
point,
shouldn't
my
have talked
point
about
will,
him.
my point will still stand, though. I want to know where he came from, because he came from 2 laps down, just a few laps
Brandon,
to go.
sorry to cut you off, but new leader Casey Tillman got around Travis Barnes, and 3 trucks did as well. Travis Barnes was leading the way. He is back in the 4th spot right now, battling with Brett Johnson. I don't know what happened. We were focusing on the 24, and I just happened to look up and saw Travis Barnes almost at a snail's pace in turn 1.
The yellow flag is
Caution
out.
flag out onto the speedway once again. Wrecking behind them further back into the field. I see Carl Burke back there. I see Dan Lowther back there locking him up at the 85. Dan West Jr. involved in that. Go back and look on replay. They were 3 wide down off of corner number 2. We know that's not going to work. Dan West gets turned heavy into the outside wall. Around goes the 9, and a number of trucks collected once again back behind them in true Bristol fashion. Greg, you can't wreck just one truck here at Bristol. You gotta take a few with it. As Bristol, such tight confines. These guys wreck, and they're so tight here throughout this racetrack, and all throughout these runs. One truck goes around. There's nowhere for any of these guys to go.
Yeah, definitely. Just a product of racing here at Bristol, and a couple of big developments here. Travis Barnes, who was leading just before that caution came out, said he fell back to 4th. He's on pit road now. He's the first truck to come in. And Dan West Jr. has been given an end of the longest line penalty. So, a couple of big developments here for some guys. The 2 guys who have led the most laps here tonight.
Yeah, so Casey Tillman, I'm sure liking where he's at right now. I know he's going to have company from behind him. Dylan Huffines really wanting to gain that position. You got Devin West back there in the 16 machine. Brett Johnson's made a little bit of noise so far up here tonight. He's up into that 5th position already. And Frank Harris, we haven't really talked much about him up into that 11 machine, but he's up into that 6th spot. So a lot of guys, a lot of new faces up within the top 10 here. Ryan Maines back there, a very interesting shaped race truck now, as he's got a lot of cosmetic damage on him, but he's up there into the 14th position. He's going to be 5 laps down. I'm sorry. So he's had a rough night. We saw him battling it up front earlier in the race. Only a total of 11 trucks here on the lead lap. The first truck 1 lap down is actually 3 laps down. That's John Ottenbacher on pit road. So these guys should be getting the one-to-go signal this next time across the stripe, and we'll get ready to go green flag racing in just a few moments.
Travis Barnes will restart in the 7th position with 4 fresh tires. Has it been long enough that you think the 4 fresh tires will have enough of an effect for Travis Barnes to maybe slice and dice his way through the field?
You know, I think it'll make it really interesting with only a handful of laps to go here in this thing already. Laps tick by so quick here, and this race goes by so fast. These last few laps is it's going to be interesting for sure for that three crew. He's going to be starting to the outside. That's exactly where he wants to be, I'm sure. So look out for that 3 car, Travis Barnes. 4 fresh tires, going to try to slice his way through the field. It's going to be Casey Tillman up at the front of this thing now. He's going to be your new control car off of this restart. Pace car makes its way down into the safety of pit road. He's on the throttle. Green flag goes back in the air at Bristol.
Here comes Devin West with a charge, but Dylan Huffines fights back on the outside, and Huffines, he's going to get a huge run off of the turn 2. Dylan Huffines takes the lead. He's going to cleared.
He's going to clear by a mile down there, drag her up in the high side, and Travis Barnes now all the way up to that 4th position. He restarted in 6th. He's already gained 2 spots off that restart. He's going to give Devin West, company down on the low side. It's going to be side by side for that 4th position now, for the 3rd position rather. Not quite able to get there is that 3 car Travis Barnes. Devin West is going to hang on to it. It's going to be side by side battling behind them. They settled it out now.
I still cannot get over what Dylan Huffines did. Casey Tillman had him cleared going into turn number 1 and had a full truck length on it. He just shot it through the outside and made it stick, and he's got the lead now in the closing stages. We're coming to just about 10 laps to go here, Brandon, and Dylan Huffines just made the move of the race right there. The power move from the 5 truck may be the race-winning move if this thing stays green.
Absolutely, but don't count out Casey Tillman quite yet. He had the momentum the last time around. He got right up to the back bumper of the 5 machine. He just has to be able to make it stick there on corner exit. That's where Huffines is strong, as we've got just 10 laps to go in this race now. They're wrecking down low. We stay green. They managed to keep us straight. That's Dan West Jr. once again.
Dan West Jr. had just come off pit road. It looks like he's coming back on the pit road, so another great performance by Dan West Jr. tonight. Unfortunately, he's going to come up short, and looks like his night might be coming to an end as Barnes just scrapes the wall trying to get back around Devin West. The battle is for 3rd right now as Dylan Huffines has opened up a 0.3 of a second lead over Casey Tillman. The battle is 3rd between Devin West, the 16, Travis Barnes, the 3. Oh, they're wrecking behind them. Jeff Stab now, loose. They all saved it. Oh, but the caution comes out.
Unbelievable save and driving from all of those guys. The caution flag flies once again, but nobody went around. Well, they did, but they didn't. The 24, he gets turned up to the outside wall. He collects the 7. Brett Johnson saves it. Stab now saves it. The 9 machine, Corey Walters manages to save it somehow. Unbelievable driving by all 3 of those guys. Wow, I keep going back and watching that, folks, and I cannot believe that every single one of those guys somehow managed to save it with very minor cosmetic damage, mind you, but unbelievable driving from all of those guys. And though it puts us under the caution flag once again, that's just how sideways they were. It was enough to trigger that caution flag to fly and manage to straighten those race machines out.
drivers made that save, but they did. Stabnow coming into pit road, bringing the field with him behind him. That's the 111 of Jennings. But Brandon, have we seen the last caution?
I don't know. I want to say yes, but I don't. I wouldn't believe myself. Believe these guys will get. I want to say 2 attempts at a green white checkered, if I remember correctly. But don't take my word for it quite yet. These guys, I don't think this time, but maybe next time they'll get the one to go signal at the line. So, yeah, I don't. As far as my predictions of cautions go, I want to say that we won't have any more, but I don't believe myself if I say it. So I'm going to say maybe one more.
We'll see what happens here in the closing stages of this one. Shootout time here at Bristol.
Yep, so not this time, but next time it'll be one to the green at the line. And again, it's going to be Dylan Huffines taking control of this restart. He's going to be your control truck. Casey Tillman going to be to his outside. Devin West down low. Travis Barnes exactly where he wants to be. He's going to be in the 4th position, 2nd row outside. And this is going to be his fighting shot to try to get that lead back on 4 fresh tires.
He's going to have a couple shots, perhaps, at least one shot to get around Devin West. He's got to hope, though, that 92 of Tillman is able to go with the 5 of Casey or Dylan Huffines. Dylan Huffines, the power move to get up there and get to the lead from Casey Tillman. And how about Casey Tillman? He started 18th. He's up to 2nd after leading a little bit.
Yeah, so, a lot of these guys that I didn't expect to see up front at the end of this thing are, well, sitting up front. But right now, these guys getting ready for the green flag. Once again, Dylan Huffines in the 5 machine starting down low. Casey Tillman up to his outside. It's going to be that 5 truck taking these guys back to the green flag. Pace car is off. And they're on the throttle. Green flag is back in the air once again.
Dylan Huffines with the nose just in front. Gets the lead from Casey Tillman. Travis Barnes out in front. It's an NWRB 1-2-3. Once again, Tillman to the inside of Huffines. Looking for the move. They come around. White flag. 1 lap to go. Brought to you by East Coast Media. Huffines hit the wall. He gets hit by Tillman. Tillman gets through. Barnes trying to get there. They're 4 wide for the race lead. Travis Barnes gets the lead and he checks out. Through 3 and 4, Devin West the 2nd. Travis Barnes, the power move through the wreck, wins the race at Bristol.
Unbelievable move from Travis Barnes to get this race win at Thunder Valley. Those guys, they were beating and banging for the lead in front of him. He manages to power through all the mayhem, and it's going to be that 3 machine coming out on top. Unbelievable. 4 fresh tires. He restarted in the final laps of this thing back there all the way into the 7th or 8th position. 24 went up to the outside wall. Barnes just pulled the crossover and followed suit. They almost wrecked behind him, but he's going to pull through to get the race win here tonight. Unbelievable driving as he's going to burn it down here on the front stretch with the fans.
Unbelievable finish, Brandon. And in the first race of existence of the Northwest Racing Boys, they have parked it in victory lane. The NWRB is 1 for 1 in the Northwest Racing Series.
So as Travis Barnes continues his celebration here on the front stretch, we extend our congratulations to him. We're going to go to a quick break here at LSR TV. Stick around for the post-race show. We'll be Hello, race fans, and welcome back to LSR TV, your home for sim racing, here with the Clan Wars post-race show. Clan Wars servers, the official communication partner of LSR TV. And I'm down here on pit road. I've caught up with third place finisher Brett Johnson. Brett, you come home, you escape the mayhem, and you come home with a third place finish here. Not across the line, but you kind of inherited that, but I'm sure you're not complaining much.
No, I'll take it. Pretty crazy night overall, but yeah, I don't know what happened at the end there, but third, yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, so to explain to the race fans, a 16x is normally a pass-through penalty in race for as far as incident points go. Those guys exceeded that for post-race incidents, so those guys all got penalized for that. So, Brett, you come home with a third place finish. We saw you up front all night, and this is a good night in the points for you here tonight.
Yeah, yeah, it was too many yellows and just crazy overall. But I run up front most of the night and wasn't making a lot of headway there. But just so many yellows, it's tough to get in a good rhythm and get a good long run where you could make up some ground. But yeah, I started out fifth and kind of stayed there most of the night and missed the mayhem. So yeah, fortunate to finish third there.
Yeah, and you said it, missed the mayhem. You got through everything nice and clean for the most parts here, and bringing that number 7 truck down here to a podium finish. Brett, is there anybody that you'd like to thank or shout out to here for your podium finish here tonight?
Yeah, just everyone at Northwest Racing Series. All the hard work they put in is awesome. Jeff and Sean and John and Mark and you guys at LSR TV. So you guys do a great job and love the broadcast. So sorry we didn't give you a better show tonight, but we'll be back next week and thanks.
Thank you, Brett. And again, ladies and gentlemen, that was your third place finisher on the night, Brett Johnson. And I believe Greg is caught up with your second place finisher here at the night.
Yeah, Roy Grande, Greg Renz, 3YT or LSR TV. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. Hello.
Hey, Roy, you had a pretty quiet night. We noticed you slowly making your way up through the field, and things worked out your way, and you came home in the second position. How about that?
Oh, I'm thrilled. This is the best finish I've had in this series by far. And, the fact that it's Bristol where I can't seem to usually get out of the first, 20, 30 laps, I'm thrilled.
Well, Roy, tell us about what you saw out your windshield on that last lap with that incredible race going on between Tillman, Huffines, Johnson, Barnes, everybody up there. Tell us what you saw coming through that last lap and how you were able to snake your way through that.
I couldn't believe everybody kept it together and kept it on the road. That was pretty impressive. But I think I might have closed my eyes a couple of times through that, and I'm not really sure what I did. I got lucky.
Well, Roy, you said that's your career best finish here in this series, and you mentioned it coming to Bristol is awesome, but just how much of a weight off the shoulders is that for you to get a podium finish at a track such as Bristol?
I love Bristol. It's just giving me bad luck. So I'm beyond happy, and to do it with these guys who put together an awesome league. It's my second year here and couldn't be more happier. It's the league I look forward to the most. And, you guys put on a good show. I hope next week we can give you some more green flag racing.
All right, Roy. Well, we're going to let you go celebrate that second place finish. But before we do, we know you've been waiting a long time to give some shout outs here on LSR TV. Here's your shot. Who you got?
Oh, shout out to the guys, Jeff, Sean, everybody running the show at Northwest Racing Series. They do an awesome job. And then, of course, I got to say, hi, Mom, I love you.
All right. A very emotional Roy Grande. Second place here at Bristol. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And Brandon, I think, has made it down to victory lane where Travis Barnes just picked up the first win for the Northwest Racing Boys.
Yeah, he's out of the race truck now. Your winner on the night here at Bristol Motor Speedway, Travis Barnes. And Travis, man, this has got to be a good win for you. You made it through the hectic last lap, or the last couple of laps there off that restart, and you were up front all race. How you feeling?
Dude, I'm feeling amazing.
Dude, first win with the new team, or so I've been told. The newly established team as of earlier this week, and this has got to be a real feel-good moment for all of you guys here tonight.
Oh, dude, it's feeling amazing. The whole team really put the heart and soul into this setup, and it really showed. We went out there, ran 1, 2, 3 for most of the race, and came home with the W.
Absolutely. Tell us about this whole race. Obviously, there was a lot of mayhem out onto the speedway. That's kind of what we expect from Bristol. Short track racing action, tempers flaring, a lot of these guys getting caught up and stuff. But you kept your nose clean all race long, even though you went back into the latter half of the top 10 a couple of times tonight. You kept calm and you stayed through there. How was it trying to navigate through that traffic?
Oh, it's extremely hard, especially on those older tires. The car gets tighter. We had to make a couple adjustments to free the car up, but in all, it worked in the end. Uh, I, just a great race, all in general. I know a couple times I got set back. I got a speeding in the pit lane penalty, and then I had to go take that fast repair with like 18 to go. Then I made my way back up to the front.
You made your way back up into the front and all the way back into that first position. But let's go back to that last restart, the final restart of the night. You start second row outside. The guys made contact in front of you down the backstretch. What did you see through your windshield, and what did you do to try to get around that mess?
Well, Dylan hit the wall up top there, came back down on Casey, and they went down. They ended up getting together, and then Casey came back up the track, and I was going through. I saw the gates open like Moses, went straight through it, and I got right through all of it. It was crazy. I'll tell you what, you won't see it anywhere else but right here.
Absolutely. Gates opening like Moses. I like that quote. But Travis, you come home with a race win. There's got to be some guys that you want to thank and shout out to. So have at it.
Oh yeah, I'd like to thank those Northwest Racing boys, Dylan Huffines. Him and I put so much time and effort into this setup, and it just paid off. It was amazing. Just like to thank you guys up in the TV booth. Amazing job. I could never do it. You guys have special talents, and I'd like to thank my family. It's just been great. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Travis. Probably one of the best interviews that I've done here to date. And guys, your race winner here on the night, Travis Barnes, takes it home here in Thunder Valley. And well, Greg, I think that's about going to do it for us here tonight on LSR TV. Final race rundown coming home with the race win. Going to be Travis Barnes, Roy Grande finishing that second position, Brett Johnson finishing in third, Frank Harris finishing in fourth, fifth's going to be Steve Paulison, Devin West finishing in sixth, seventh's going to be Casey Tillman, Dylan Huffines finishing in that eighth position, Corey Walters finishing ninth, Jeff Stabnow rounding out the top 10. He's going to be your first car a lap down.
Coming home in the 11th, or the 11th spot, Jeff. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong screen here. John Ottenbacher in the 11th spot. Ryan Maines coming home in the 12th spot after a disappointing end to such a strong run he had. Dan West Jr., unfortunately, not able to finish off night in 13th position. Steve Jennings also retired from the race just a little bit early. Gary Nichols, Dan Lowther, disappointing night for the 85. Carl Burke, Roy Fournier, James Vining, and Tyler King round out the top 20.
Finishing in that 21st position is going to be Stephen O'Hare. Disappointing night for him after running up front for a lot of this race. Finishing 22nd is going to be Chris Shearburn. Travis McKinney finishing 23rd. 24th is going to be Tom Green. Sean Brightsman finishing 25th. A disappointing run for him as well. Dana Rogers finishing in that 26th position. 27th is going to be William Fletcher. Mark Walls, heavy hit tonight for as far as points go. Dan Stussy finishing in that 29th position and rounding out the top 30. And your final finishing position is going to be Timothy Ricketts Jr. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for all of us on LSR TV and the Northwest Racing Series. Behind the cameras in the director's seat tonight is going to be Rudy Cummings. My announcing partners here tonight, Greg Rentz and Nolan Check, check. Okay, there we go. Nolan Rempel back there as well. Sorry about that. And of course, myself, Brandon Kreutz. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great night. We'll see you next time. Good night, good racing.